Welcome to NLDS podcast. I'm here with Luz Ramos, and my group and I made a film entitled A Teddy's Revenge. In this episode named Critical Reflection, I will be asking Luz some questions. To start it off, how does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? My product challenges conventions by using happy music at the beginning of the credit scene, when this whole credit scene was under the genre horror. Horror usually starts off with eerie and anomalous music that is used to set the tone of suspense and unsettling feelings. And if my film were to use that, it would be following conventions. But my group and I did the opposite of that. We started our credit scene with upbeat music that would set an optimistic tone, which would make our audience think our film will bring joyful feelings, but as they watch, that feeling will be contradicted. This will catch the audience off guard since they probably will be surprised by the unexpected turn of events. The audience will go from feeling happy to being unsettled by the events going on. That will leave a memorable impact on the viewers. Not only does our music challenge conventions, but so do our visuals. What I mean by that is we use a brown teddy bear to bring unsettling feelings to the audience, when a teddy bear is usually used to bring a sense of comfort and safeness. The teddy bear will probably at first be seen as a less threatening creature at the beginning, but then unexpectedly seem more dangerous than what the eye meets. Since the teddy bear doesn't have any creepy aspects to it, such as blood or a scary face, most people would think it will do no harm because of how cute it looks, but we took a twist to that cute face and made it seem like it can do so much more than what you think. We also challenge the conventions of color symbolism, because the color brown is known to symbolize comfort, reliability, and security, which is the opposite of what our bear brought, because it made the girls in the film feel discomfort and feel like they are unsafe. Another thing we did that would be challenging conventions was the voice of our bear talking to the mystery person. Instead of being a creepy, scary, deep voice that indicates anger, threat, or aggression, we used an inviting, high-pitched voice that is unanticipating. So overall, our horror film challenged a lot of conventions, but we also followed conventions such as low-key lighting, creepy music at the end, and having horrific moments at night, as well as creating discomfort. To answer the second half of the question, my group and I used a social group of two inseparable best friends, enjoying their time hanging out and having fun. So practically, we are showing regular teens hanging out and doing normal activities, making plans, and talking about relatable stuff, most things teens do. My film represents issues such as harassment and unwanted attention, which is stalking, which is represented by the bear. There is an estimate that 13.5 million people are stalked in one period in the United States, which shows how serious of an issue it has become, especially for women. It is 8% of women that have been stalked at some time during their lives, while only 2% of men have been stalked, showing how it happens more to girls/women victims. This also shows how mostly men are the stalkers, although they can also be victims. It's shown that the stalkers can be either former partners, acquaintances, family members, and even total strangers, which is surprising. The bear will represent a total stranger stalking these two young girls, following them wherever they went, or making them feel weird. Another issue society makes is how they want everything to be perfect. So when something isn't perfect, like they want it to be, they will throw it out, which relates to the teddy bear being thrown out because it was broken and wasn't to the girls' liking. So since the teddy bear wasn't perfect, the girls didn't want it, which shows how people have expectations for others to be perfect, such as celebrities. Most people forget they're human and think they won't make mistakes in the past or present. No one is perfect, but many fans expect them to do no wrong. Celebrities have expectations from them when they are literally just humans like us trying to do their work and live their life. Going back to the point when celebrities are called out on a mistake, or they misspeak, or they just share their opinion on a subject, not everyone agrees with them. And all of a sudden, they get called out, which is like being thrown out for not being perfect or not being liked by the people. They start getting hate, and sometimes they start to not be wanted by society or social media. Like the bear wasn't wanted to the girls because it wasn't perfect. But this also relates to how celebrities don't get privacy, just like the bear didn't give the girls privacy and stalked them. A big problem with being a celebrity is that you get your privacy invaded, such as pictures being taken of them in public, to people following them to their house to find out where they live. Most of it is done by paparazzi, as you can see, and it is also done by fans.
Nice. How does your product engage with audiences, and how would it be distributed as a real media text?
My product engages with audiences by bringing them childhood nostalgia, like when they've had a teddy bear when growing up or when they've slept with one. The scene where the girls get the teddy bear can remind the audience of when they first got a stuffed animal, such as a teddy bear or anything like that. Since my product is made to engage with people my age in their teenage years, it can bring up recent memories they've had in their childhood with teddy bears. This film can also remind the audience of having a best friend, since it involves two girls hanging out at the mall parking lot, arcade, and a park, which a lot of teens hang out at, which would make the film relatable. The scene where the girls make a dumb blonde move by going up to the bear added suspense and probably made the viewers be at the edge of their seats wanting to yell at the girls for going even remotely close to the bear and not running away immediately. A way my movie would be distributed is by real media text, being shown in theaters and streaming services such as Netflix, Hulu, Peacock, HBO Max, and much more. When people think of horror movies, it's mostly distributed in theaters, then later on to streaming services, like the horror movie The Menu, that went from theaters to HBO Max. So I would want this movie to be distributed just like that.
I agree with the answer. So, how did your technology skills develop throughout this project?
My technology skills developed a lot throughout this project because I knew this film had to be one of the best ones yet, meaning I had to pay attention to all the camera angles I was going to use so it wasn't the same throughout the whole film. So throughout this film, I used a lot of newer camera angles I've never used in my old films or at the beginning of filming this one, like an establishing shot, low angle shot, and an over the shoulder shot. One technological thing I definitely tried working on the most to improve in the film while editing was the sound. While recording, we had no sound gear to block out the background noise, which made it hard to hear the actors' conversations / dialogue. So it motivated me to improve it more. Also, by the feedback we got from our classmates, where most of them mentioned to improve the sound because they couldn't hear everything, it motivated me to make everything sound better and clearer. I've never messed around with the sound of the original video when I started editing, so when we received that feedback, I started to get into action by learning how to make it better with noise reduction, meaning there is definitely a difference in the sound from the first cut to the final cut. Even though it might not be the best, I definitely tried my best to make it better than what it was before. Another thing that was the most improved on, I would think, was the transitions in the film. Seeing as in the first cut, we didn't have that many transitions, and since I didn't really put much thought into it. Afterwards, it went from a bit of transitions to no transitions at all in our second cut, which led to our teacher giving us feedback to add transitions to make it more put together and smooth. I kept this in mind all throughout editing the final cut, which came out with a lot more smooth transitions than what we first began with. We had transitions like a match cut trying to match the composition of the mystery person's finger to the hammer in the next scene. a rolling transition, a wet flash transition, and we also used a wet transition, as well as a cropped transition, which were not transitions we used at the beginning of the film. At first, I thought transitions would make our film longer because one struggle we had with filming was the time limit. Our first cut was 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which was a whole 30 seconds above the limit. Then our second cut was 2 minutes and 7 seconds, and before submitting our actual final cut, it was about 2 minutes and 3 seconds when we wanted it to be 2 minutes exact, so that taught me to cut down some footage. Overall, I'm very happy with how our film came out because from the start we can tell there was a lot of potential with the story since most things were turning out the way we wanted them. And although we didn't really know how we wanted our film to end, the ending scene came up on its own, on the spot, so everything was put into place perfectly. I'm very glad my group and I's video started off very put together and ended very put together and good.
Now for our final question. How did you integrate technologies, software, hardware, and online in this project?
Well, I integrated one of the newest hardware to films, such as the iPhone 14, to record throughout this whole film, as well as edit. We recorded on the iPhone, which has very great camera quality of light improvements than other iPhones. The camera has improvements made to action mode as well as 12 MP wide and ultra wide camera, including 1.4 pixels, that is able to deliver sharper images with very great details because it captures twice the light per pixel, and with the photonic engine it merges the pixels that gains more data for the image, resulting in clear pictures and videos, helping us make our video more clear and our cover image look better. The software I used was CapCut. Although I was recommended Adobe as an editing tool to me, CapCut seemed easier to control and handle. Also, the benefit of using CapCut was that I had experience using it with other films I've edited. Therefore, it wouldn't take away a lot of my time editing by having to learn how to control everything and use it well. Hence, CapCut was used to put the footage together, add music, transitions, text, and all the overall effects in the film. In the second cut, you would see how we had a different movie cover than our final cut. The cover in the second film was very much edited a lot, and you could tell, and the software I used to make the cover was Canva. And I'll be showing you guys the cover we started off with. This was it. You could tell it was edited and that we added text to it. And the software we used was Canva, as I mentioned. And the Canva is a software used for creating professional looking designs. So that's mostly the reason why I used it, so I can create the design cover with bloody creepy font. I transferred over the cover I made in Canva to CapCut to add effects to it. The technology online that we used for the company's logo was design.com, which showed a bunch of templates we could edit to make a logo and put our production name on it, which is how me and my group came up with the design shown here. To conclude, this was all of the online technology and software and hardware we've used. Thank you so much for listening to this Critical Reflection podcast. This is Lucy Ramos, and you just heard about A Teddy's Revenge, my recent film.